Does it hurt? The recording device on your face. Happy Friday, everybody. We're a little discombobulated today, if it's okay to admit that.
I'm disbobulated.
I'd like to get rebobulated. Not sure where you go to do that.
Not here.
Not here, not now. We had to keep the dogs from coming down and being a part of the show.
It's always a thing.
It's always a thing. But happy Friday, everybody. It's Full Stop Friday, and we are making a full stop to come down to Mo's basement and sitting in some like nifty chairs here. I know, kind of cool.
Part of the reason we're discombobulated is, no, part of the reason we're late coming on here today is
Sorry.
we were actually on a staff meeting call, and we are lucky enough to get to MC TEDx Columbiana 2026. We got to do it last year,
And we spoke the year before, so we gave our TEDx talk in March of 2024, and then in September of 2025, we emceed the event, and we are very happy to be back. So we had a staff meeting with the incredible staff of TEDx Columbiana.
But what I was going to use it as a segue, and as I'm talking, realizing it's not a good segue to talk about what we're going to talk today, was I was going to say, because we're going to Ohio, that means we'll be traveling. And I was going to say, we were going to talk today about flight attendants, and I realized that we drove to Columbia.
We did, and we will drive again. Flight attendant sounds like it's counting, like taking the names of the people on the plane, like the flight attendants.
That's it.
Like Jerry. Okay, good. All right. Is Joe here? Okay.
You know what they do is they scan your boarding pass before you.
That's the flight attendants.
Anyway.
Do you have perfect attendance? Perfect flight attendants.
Anyway, one of the stories that we used, and we actually used this in Charleston last year to open up our workshop. We talked about this one particular flight attendant on a very, very early morning flight.
Yes.
Because I don't know why we do that to ourselves. We get on early flights.
You know, when you're booking the flight, it doesn't seem like a bad idea. When you're waking up
it seems like a bad idea when you're booking it too. I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna have to get up at 3. Why even go to bed? Anyway, one of the things was we were walking down the jet bridge, and it was early. It was probably a 6 a.m. flight,
Yeah.
so nobody's happy. Even the morning people,
They're not awake yet.
No, but they've been punched so many times for being cheerful in the morning. But I remember we were just walked.
Oh.
I just realized my mic. Now can you hear me? Anyway, hopefully this one was picking it up. Anyway, what was interesting is we were walking down the jet bridge, and you could hear the flight attendant doing her typical "Good morning, welcome aboard," super upbeat.
To a bunch of zombies.
Yeah, but and
basically.
she was probably one of those people who should be punched in the face because she's so chipper and
It's not very nice.
probably already did her gratitude journal and 5 rounds of yoga or something like that. But everybody in front of us was just automaton and zombie just walking down. Nobody's making eye contact with her. And we were both kind of looking at each other. I'm like, and you feel sympathy for someone like that. You're like, that sucks.
Doing her job.
Yeah.
She's up early.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing.
And no one's giving her any, nobody's schwacking her.
Nobody's giving her
sees,
anything.
nobody sees her, hears her, understands, appreciates, or connects with her. So we get up to her, and I think this interaction probably took 2 seconds.
And it was you, and you're so good about this, Mo, when we're traveling or interacting with people, finding those moments where we make a full stop, and Mo says something that is not expected, and it usually causes laughter, sometimes
Face
shock
punching.
people, yeah, who knows? And you're the one that said it.
So I said to her, listen, I know that this is a short flight, but we are sitting in the back of the plane. So if the champagne service doesn't make it all the way to the back of the plane on this very short flight, we release you from that responsibility. We understand. And yeah, she laughed.
It was enough to break the monotony in the moment of her loading all of these, again, zombies on the plane. And that's where the full stop comes in. So
Right.
we made the full stop, and Mo made the comment, and it made her laugh. I think it gave her a little bit of a break in the
Again, it's
routine
just
of what
that
she was
disruption.
doing.
We talk about the use of humor, and we can get into that later. But it was an unexpected comment that we made. It was an unexpected break in her day.
Yeah.
So it was a quick flight. We said it was early, so we
Fell asleep.
slept hard. And we wake up
I think it was the very, very bad hard landing that woke us up. But there was that flight attendant, and she goes, what did she say to us?
She said, I tried to bring this to you earlier, but you were asleep. But, here's the champagne that we agreed on or that you asked for. I don't remember how she said it.
Yeah.
But she basically gave us 2 complimentary small bottles of champagne just based on that interaction. So it changed. So I can imagine being her. And she had to make the choice. So she's the one that really put the tiny twist on it,
Right,
I believe.
right.
Because we made the full stop, made the comment, haha, isn't that funny? How cute. Okay, go get in your seats. fall
And
asleep.
not expecting anything from
Not
it.
expecting
Yeah.
anything. Well, I think maybe you were trying to get some free
I'm
booze.
always angling for free booze.
Whiskey room.
Yeah.
But I can imagine her thinking like, I'm going to find those girls, and when they wake up, I'm going to surprise, like her opportunity to bring us surprise and delight, and something she didn't have to do, but brought us 2 little bottles of champagne. And it was just such a cool moment, and really highlighted the value of making people feel schwacked, making people feel like they're not part of the routine of what we're doing. And it gave her a chance to play. It's like she clearly could play right back.
Yeah,
So-
and I think the other thing too, and we have dissected this so many times, and I love it because a couple things. Our comment costed us nothing but paying attention,
Yeah.
right? And again, we always go back to SHUAC. If you see somebody or you notice somebody who's not being seen, heard, understood, appreciated, or connected, that's your chance to be that person who's going to SHUAC someone, right? We watched all these people just walk by her with nary a thank you. And thank you. I need where's my top
your
hat and my monocle? What am I, Mr.
Here, we can
Peanut?
make that a
Yeah,
monocle.
yeah.
Great.
But, and it could have been just that. It could have been just, and honestly, that was enough for me. Like if I can make someone smile or laugh, that is enough for me.
Yeah.
And for her to do that, and look, we know it's not like they docked her paycheck or garnished her wages. We know that they've got plenty of those bottles, and it cost her literally nothing. But the time and attention to, bless you,
Excuse me.
but to SHUAC us back, and I think that's the coolest thing.
And to this day, we're telling the story.
Yeah.
It made an impression.
Well, and we also have had a couple other interactions with flight attendants, since we're not flying to Ohio, because that was a terrible start to use as an intro. There was another time that we had met Alex Linklater, who's also,
Linklater.
yeah. And
we
we
were
got to,
flying to California, so it was a long
Yeah.
flight.
and just the way he paid attention to us, like he would kneel down in the aisle and just talk to us, when everybody else is sleeping, and we're just kind of talking. And again, it helps him, I hope, helps him spend the time too.
And his girlfriend is the one that made you that. She made you a medal. What was it?
No. She put a sticker on my coffee cup.
But it was like best pat. It was like an award. She turned a coffee cup, a regular airline coffee cup, into an award.
Right. And again, it was
And I think we could all agree Mo is very deserving.
of a coffee cup award. Don't turn it over. They're all the same.
What's this?
No, but what I appreciated is, again, these people, we all know what it's like to be in a rut, and not in like a negative way, but we do
Yeah.
the same things over and over. Like we have the walk the dog, get the mail, whatever that pattern is that we have. And for us to give somebody else a chance to disrupt it, for us to disrupt it for somebody else, and for somebody else to disrupt their pattern for us,
Yeah.
I think there's a great value in that. And to that point, I couldn't tell you anything about any other flight attendant I've had except for those 2 flights.
Yeah.
The one with the short flight to wherever we went, where we got champagne.
We don't even. Yeah.
And
We,
that-
to this day, don't even remember where we were going. for
Right.
that flight.
And then the one where we met Alex and his girlfriend,
His girlfriend,
Lisa? Anyway,
Jessica?
this is the part where this is part of the baby name book, Marie. But no, but I think, and we also, Shreya, our friend, and I actually never heard of people doing this until she had mentioned it. Usually when she flies, she pre-packs little gift bags for the flight attendants.
Yep.
And I can't remember if she told us it's in
Like,
there.
And there's a group, I think there's some sort of a group or something, like a social media group that does that, and they all talk about their interactions.
See, I didn't even know that was a thing. I think that's
I
cool.
think it should be a thing. It's good. I'm glad.
Well, it is a thing.
It is a thing. But I remember too, Moe, what's the last time we flew? Charleston would have been the last time we
Okay.
flew. And we have SHUAC cards. Now, if you haven't seen the SHUAC cards, you need to get your hands on some SHUAC cards. So we have
Yeah.
the SHUAC cards. They're round, which makes them really cool. And basically, you give somebody a SHUAC card if they made you feel seen, heard, understood, appreciated, and connected. And I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, the last time we flew, we actually gave a SHUAC card to the flight attendant.
Yeah, she
And
was awesome.
she almost started crying. It just meant so much to her. And I think we gave her two. So the idea is give one to that person and then give them one for them to pay it forward and pass it on. And I think it really did like touch her. Like I
Yeah.
think it almost brought her to tears. And
Yeah.
just say, hey, you made this, to say like you made this more than just a routine flight. You turned a routine flight into an experience, into a connection, into something special. And the thing is, we always say this about full stop. It doesn't take that much.
Yeah, it's not that
It's the
hard.
stop part. It's like, wait a second, how can I turn this into
So
something
the
special?
full stop framework that we have actually trademarked is
TM.
interrupt the, oh, too much? Interrupt the rush, pause with purpose, and add a tiny twist.
Yep.
And I think if we go back and we dissect things, because that's what I do, like I'm like a biology, I'm like tearing apart the frog, which I never had to do that. Anyway, but
It was gross.
yeah, that sounds disgusting. But like when we go back and look at the flight attendant, the champagne, we call her champagne flight attendant. That's the name of our story, right?
Yeah.
But
She has a name, we just don't know what it is.
it's champagne flight attendant, CFA. But it's, it is interrupting the rush. And again, we weren't rushed to get on the plane, but we were rushed in the sense of everybody's just a monotonous, robotic,
We were going somewhere. We
methodical. It was
were-
just
yeah.
like, next thing, next thing. As opposed to boarding the plane while it is a task, and it is a mundane task, and thousands of people do it every day, there is an opportunity to make it more than that,
Yeah.
right? So by interrupting the rush and then saying, okay, I stopped and I've pulled my head out, is my other thing that I like to say is, now I'm going to make this pause. I've stopped and I've noticed, how can I make this purposeful, and how can I put my own personality in it? Because for some people to go up to a flight attendant and go, hey, give me champagne, I'll be in the back, right? It doesn't carry the same weight.
Not when you do it in that voice.
Well,
That
it's a
had like
choice.
creepy,
It was,
like a creepy
that's
old
my
man
point.
vibe to
That's
it.
my point is that not everybody can do, like, you can't tell somebody, like, say this thing and you'll be funny, you'll get attention, because it might come out just like that. Give me champagne. But I think that when everybody adds their own little tiny twist, same thing with Alex. He sat down and talked to us. His twist was sharing about him and asking about us. We found out he's a Formula One race car driver.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
here's our flight attendant, and that's another thing too. The more you learn about people, he's a race car driver and famous, and it was fascinating.
Yeah.
Or his girlfriend making me a coffee cup, and I remember she had put stickers on the coffee on the lid.
It's like an award.
Yeah, it doesn't take much. You know
Not
what I
just
mean?
likes winning awards, but
I do. I have a whole room of coffee cups that I bought for myself. World's
That's
best
style.
friend, yeah. But-
you know what's funny about the full stop is when I'm getting ready
Nothing.
to,
It is not a funny
it
thing.
is very serious, just like everything else we do.
Give me some champagne. Sorry.
Stop being creepy. When I know I'm in a situation where, and I can tell I'm like, I need to give this person a SHUAC card. I actually get like nervous, like excited but nervous,
Uh-huh.
because I think it is because it's easier to stick in the routine.
Yeah.
It's easier to not do, and you can even tell someone like a waiter or waitress, like, you made this a great experience. Like, thank you for making the meal more than just an experience. But to actually give them the SHUAC card and ask them to pay it forward, like, I get like excited, nervous when I
Yeah.
get to do that. But but every time it's done, it's like, that was so cool. Like a great interaction with somebody.
Well, I think it's, kind of going back to the coffee and the champagne and the coffee lid and the stories.
it's a
is that
heavily drink episode.
just
of
one drink. It's
Soul Stop, right?
one. But well, it's with a twist.
Adding a twist.
Yeah. But the thing is that I think there's something different in kind of to your point with the SHUAC cars is there's something different when there's a tangible, there's an artifact, there's a token, there's something physical that you can touch. And that's why I like the SHUAC cards. And what our card says is it's got our SHUAC shark on the front.
He's
It
so
says
cute.
SHUAC attack. And on the back it says, seen, heard, understood, appreciated, and connected. But in the middle it says, you made me feel like I matter. And I think that is the core of everything that we do when we do full stops, when we MC, when we do workshops, when we hang out with
Yep.
our friends, when we hang out with each other, is to let the other people in your presence know that they matter. You're giving up your time, you are giving up your routine to
Yep.
full stop and schwack somebody because they matter. Everybody matters. And we have, I think, a responsibility to let people know that they matter. Now, the other part of this is Carrie, my college friend, who's now our friend, sent us each a copy of Jen Wallace's book called Mattering.
Yes.
I'm a very slow reader, so I will probably be talking about this book for the next 3 to 4 years. But mattering in that whole thing is like there is this biological, physiological, community-based need for us to matter to somebody.
Yeah.
And and that's the other thing, going back to the SHUAC card, is there's a tangible token and a reminder as opposed to trying to remember
Yeah.
the conference. Somebody said that I shifted them, I sharted on them. What's the acronym? Oh, I schwacked them, right? And so when they have the, are you going to do this podcast with me?
Actually, I can't believe you said that. Who are we kidding?
Yeah, no one. But that's the thing is that you have this physical token, and
You just said physical.
I will edit that.
I love you,
that
Bowie.
chart out. But again, that physical, let's get physical. But having that token, again, to jog your memory, and also to be able to have it
Yeah.
and remember that everything that entailed that. Like, because once you're anchored to that token, you remember the incident. You remember why you got that. You remember.
And it's the SWAT cards are cool. Moe designed them. Moe loves Canva.
I do love me some
And
Canva.
Moe and Canva together, it's a beautiful thing. They're really, really, if you don't have one,
Yeah.
hit us up. 'cause
Well,
we'll
actually,
get
we would
some.
love to give you one, but we are out of them. We gave out the first 2 batches that we ordered, so
Didn't you
we,
just order some?
yeah, I just ordered, so
Yay.
I'll go to the mailbox next.
On the flip side of that, I agree with you. I think that mattering.
Note the time and date, please. Katie agrees with Mo. I'll have some champagne.
On the flip side of that, I think one of the things that hits us the most in the gut and doesn't feel good is being misunderstood.
Yep.
And when you feel like you matter, you feel like you're understood. So that's really focusing on the you of SHUAC is to be misunderstood. I think is one of the things that hits the deepest for me. Like I will get emotional and upset if I feel like someone is misunderstanding me. That one hits really, really hard for me. So when someone, and really what it takes is not being flippant. Like if Mo started explaining something and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I got it. But I'm not really listening to what she's really saying. I'm misunderstanding. Stop.
It happens all the time.
So there's something about all of those things, but I think feeling the opposite, unseen, unheard, misunderstood, ununderstood, misunderstood, like those things.
But I get in trouble for physical? Just saying.
Let's publish a new dictionary. Yeah. Thesaurus plethora. That means
Means
a
a
lot.
lot.
So, but the opposite of all of those, I think that's why those things hit us at the core, because that is the core of the stuff that really matters. So,
Yeah, and so yours is being misunderstood. Mine is the seen. I feel invisible quite often. And so for someone to acknowledge, and some of that is just acknowledging that you did a thing, right? So we've been watching Clarkson's Farm, and it's this British guy with way too much money and 500 acres, and he'll put up a fence. He's like, I did a thing. So we're helping our neighbor with the sheep, and we're like, I did a thing. It's like not a good thing, but I did a thing, right? But just to get credit for that, I think that's another thing too. Is I think for me, not getting credit, and not in a vain way, but you know, if you do a thing, you want the credit for that. And I think a lot of times we're just like, oh yeah, it's if you've seen Seinfeld, it's the big salad, right? So somebody buys a big salad and they go to someone's house, and the person who didn't buy the big salad is the one who carries it in. Oh, you even did it this morning. We were at coffee, and I accidentally forgot to tip on my credit card, and she gave me cash, but you were I appreciate this because you gave me the cash to put in the tip jar, because I was, and again, I appreciate that.
but
And
you're
so-
the one that paid. You're the one that was the one who meant to tip and just hit
Right.
the wrong button. So I wanted, that's important.
But I think even that step of, because to me it was a big salad moment, right? Because you had the big salad, you gave me the big salad because I was the one who bought the coffee.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of salad,
Salad
and
and
coffee.
coffee.
Like, eat your greens, people.
Keeps
But-
it regular.
But, B-U-T-T, see, regular, okay, anyway, that was shitty. But, that was shardy. Hey, Shardy, it's your birthday.
Violating all of the podcast rules today.
We're just talking about drinking, we're not actually drinking. Anyway,
Do you want some champagne? That was my turn.
that was creepy.
Okay.
I will turn your microphone off again. But I think that we talk about the full stop, right? Interrupt the rush, pause with purpose, and add a tiny twist.
Mhm.
Those little things mean a lot. So for you to give me the cash to put in the tip jar, that meant a lot to me. And I don't think, it could have been, you were like, well, here, take this money, you put it in the tip jar. I could have been like, well, you put it in the tip jar. That's like inefficient. You're handing me money, right? But what you did sent a really big signal. And I think that we undervalue those things that carry so much significance and meaning and mattering, right?
Yeah.
So again, it was you seeing that I was the one who paid for the coffee and I mean, I didn't care about the tip and who put it in there, but it means a lot to me
Yeah.
that you did that, so.
And I knew that would mean, like, you and I think operate very similarly in those
Yeah.
things. And we're both feelers, we're both highly sensitive. And so sometimes growing up as a highly sensitive person, sometimes I would feel like, well, I'm just overreacting because the other people aren't feeling the same way I'm feeling. But there's something about owning and valuing and giving legitimacy to the way you feel about things that they're really getting very deep today. It's just,
You know what would make
it's a
this better, though?
Friday. Champagne.
Champagne. No, again, I really, really believe in the full stop, and
Yes.
and
It
again,
makes a difference.
the key is that tiny twist. Now, to deviate from the flight attendant thing, yesterday I taught a humor as a high performance tool. Humor is a high performance tool at George Mason University.
She is a college professor now, everyone.
Far from it.
Professor Barrett.
Yeah, that's Mo to you. But I talked about it, and I had a diagram because I also love SketchWow, because this was not in Canva, this was in SketchWow.
It
But
was really cute.
But if you look at this, and I would encourage anybody who's listening or watching, and because this is what I had the class do, is pick a mundane task. And it can be delivering coffee as a flight attendant. It can be boarding a plane, right? So you pick the mundane task, and then over here, straight line across from it, you write the expected response or the normal response. So let's say it's, I'm going to deliver coffee, here's your coffee, right? Or I'm going to walk on a plane, I'm just going to walk on the plane, maybe say
Yeah.
hi, most people don't. And then underneath that expected response is this diagonal line from the task. And underneath the expected response, there is the tiny twist. And so here's the stimulus, the act, the comment, whatever it is, here's the expected response. But down here is the tiny
It
twist
makes
response.
a triangle.
Yes, but that gap, yes, pyramid scheme.
This is
Yeah.
you.
But that gap is where you have the opportunity to SHUAC someone, right?
Yeah.
You have the opportunity to make someone feel special, to make them feel like they matter. And I think that's where it's like, okay, my task is I'm going to deliver a cup of coffee. The expected way is to deliver a cup of coffee. The little tiny twist could be putting a sticker on there or writing a note. It's so simple. And it makes such a big difference. The return on investment, the return on SHUAC, the return on twist, which is ROT, which is rot, is huge, right? And so what I would encourage you to do, and we'll put the graphic up on our socials, but pick a task and just write down what is the expected way to accomplish that task. And how can you add a tiny twist? And that little twist, I mean, when we say tiny, we mean minuscule. Like you had a good example of, let's say you're in charge of printing out the meeting minutes.
Yeah. So you're printing, and actually, I'm getting ready to do a vocal intensive tomorrow for some students in my studio. I'm really excited. And I told Mo, I said, I have things to print, but I want to print them on colored paper because I want it to be memorable. I want them to be able to find it later. I don't want it to be one of the other white sheets of paper that everybody has, or, printing something on, balloon stationery, or I'm getting ready to send to send something, I have some music stationery, just take that extra second. So it's funny, you're talking about stickers and mail and stuff. I think every time I send a card in the mail, I put a sticker on the back of the envelope. And now I have a drawer full of stickers because part of my job
Maybe
is
you
that
need to write to more people.
I work with kids and teenagers who really like stickers. So I have quite a collection. So for me, it's going into my studio and opening a drawer. But I would say in my lifetime, I have sent more cards and letters with a sticker on the back than I have not. And I would say the ones I have not is probably a very small percentage.
Yeah.
And to me, that's my tiny twist.
Yep.
I love sending people things in the mail, and I think that's something that we just don't do very much anymore. And that's something, again, you're very, very good at. So if I'm going to send you something in the mail, almost promise there's going to be a sticker on the back of it. So that's my tiny twist.
My tiny twist is on the front of the envelope where the 78 cents where the stamps goes. It's not going to be forever stamp. It's going to be 78 cents with 25. I got my calculator out when I said.
Save your envelopes because they're amazing. And you know what, too, I want to say also is that, yes, find those moments to add the full stop, but it's okay if you've got moments where you just rest in the routine as well. Not every plane we board do we yuck it up with the flight attendant. First of all, sometimes we try to, and we find like they just can't. I mean, it's not all due respect.
Not our
they just
people.
can't hang.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, we'll just be in our seats. And usually we're going into or coming off of a gig, so we're usually kind of tired. So there are times where we let ourselves off the hook. But at the same time, there are lots of opportunities, and we don't want to miss those opportunities to connect with somebody.
Yeah.
And it's so cool when they can play back. Like,
So this
so rewarding.
So this morning we were in line at coffee. Well, we have just deviated. This is like our Sunday night. So this morning we were in line for coffee. There was about 6 of us in line, and there was a woman behind us in the Navy. No judgment, right? But she was trying to look through us and look at there was a sandwich board that had the specialty
That had,
drinks.
ironically, sandwiches on it.
Yeah, not on it. It was just names of
figure.
sandwiches. It was a menu board, right? So she was kind of looking, and so the normal response would be to move out of the way so said Navy person could read said menu board. No. We picked it up, and we did a dramatic reading of all the drinks.
In Irish accents.
Well, they were supposed to be Jamaican, but everything I do sounds Scottish. But so we read like the green tea matcha, the Shamrock Lucky Reuben.
Loudly.
Yeah,
So
we were
if
loud.
you were Baltimore Coffee and Tea this morning by the Odenton train station,
That was us.
you're welcome.
But again, you look at, and I think this is what I told the students yesterday. When you get in the habit of looking at mundane tasks and the expected response and how you can add a tiny twist, when you do that, like it's not like we sat down and diagrammed like, hey, this lady wants to see this sign. What are the ways we could do it, you know?
Let's have a meeting.
But you start to see those opportunities to leverage that full stop moment and add your tiny twist.
Yeah.
So, that's
And your tiny twist might look different than someone else's tiny twist.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Yeah. They're all tiny and they're all twists. Isn't that the character from Christmas?
Yeah,
Carol?
crotchety.
Tiny twist.
Tiny twist, yeah. He had a crutch.
And
Yeah.
God bless us.
Everyone, look, teacher.
You see he had a crotch? Didn't you mean a crutch?
Okay. On that crutch, we've been in calls all morning. This is not healthy. Anyway, so what we encourage you to do this weekend is pick a mundane task that you have coming up, write down the expected response, and add your tiny twist, and we want to know about it.
We
We'll
wanna
put
see
the
the
graphic.
graphic,
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll put the graphic
Graphic
in.
is pretty
So,
cool.
but and also, can I get some champagne?
On that note.
Have a great weekend, and we'll
Yep.
see you Sunday night when Mo and
No.
Katy hit record, and it
And
looks a lot like this.
See what happens. Go out there and make some full stop moments with some tiny twists.
Bye.
Bye. Is it this one?
No.
No.